What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And as always, thank y'all for joining me again. And I always ask time to time that if you like what you're hearing, that you consider subscribing to the channel and selecting the like button, as well as clicking the bell, so that you can get all the notifications. But today I have another episode of Rhetoric for y'all, and this will be an example of historical crime, that being we were stripped of our culture. We were robbed of our culture. We were robbed of our name. And many of us, we even lost our mind. Here it is. Bam. In your face, goddamn. This is a job damn. So, what's the claim on this nonsense? Well, the claim is that human beings, we as human beings, we have this magical connection to our past, to our ancestry, and that every human being needs this. And without it, you just simply will lose all inability to function in society. You will lose any ability to act like a civilized human being. So therefore, everybody has to have a connection to their past and to their culture, or they just lose it. And basically, this is the excuse that black folks use. Anytime when people point out how well other people are doing in this country, how blacks from other countries come here and seem to have no issues. Nigerians are killing this country. Asian people are just absolutely killing it in America. And people wonder, well, how is it that this alleged system of white supremacy is working for them, but for some reason blacks born here seem to be having all these issues? Well, they always say, well, these people didn't lose their culture. Now, of course, we're going to get to the truth. First of all, this is a complete crock of BS. Okay, you do not need to know anything about your culture or history in general for anything in that matter to learn how basically to be able to learn. Okay, you do not have to be in touch with your culture to learn how to read, to learn how to write, to learn how to do math and science. You do not need culture to learn any of this stuff. So that's an excuse. It's a BS excuse to try to explain away the lack they have from blacks. And they always try to find some type of way to pin everything on a white man. Everything is the white man's fault, never our fault. So let's keep trying to find ways, excuses to cry about the white man. And it's utter nonsense, okay? As I say, you do not have to know. I mean, a black person in America don't have to know anything at all about Africa to know that 1 plus 1 equals 2. Okay, you do not have to know anything about Africa to have common sense, enough common sense to know to not go jump off a damn bridge, you know what I'm saying? Or not to go run across an 8-lane highway, okay? That's ridiculous, and there's absolutely nothing at all about not having in touch with our past. It's causing blacks to have us to have babies out of wedlock at the rates we're doing. It just makes no sense. Now, the one thing that just puts a nail in the coffin of this we were robbed of our culture nonsense would be I always refer to the Great Society, because the Great Society is that point in this country when we as black people, you can see that it was almost like a Moab, dropped on the black community. That Great Society destroyed the black family, and at that point you can start to see, statistically speaking, all the problems that exist amongst the black community started to happen. Prior to the Great Society, the out of wedlock birth rates amongst blacks was in the 20s. 20% is something like 20 something percent range. Now it's 75%. I'm saying the crime rates among blacks were low. I mean, there was a point in time when, as a black child, you were much more likely to grow up in an intact home with both your mother and father than a white person. There was a point in time in this country where we had the crime rates among blacks were less than that of white people. So if it was all about being robbed of your culture, then why didn't all these problems started happening after the Great Society? Wouldn't it have been happening once blacks had been freed? Once we were stripped of our culture and we were freed, then would we have been killing and shooting each other like we do today? I mean, it wasn't happening. If that were the case, we wouldn't have had such things as, Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I mean, we would have been too busy killing and shooting each other to produce a Black Wall Street, as well as other things. Because like I said, statistically speaking, all the problems that we see amongst black people, the real issues in the black community didn't start happening until after the Great Society. So then how do you pin it upon loss of culture if it only started after the Great Society? You mean to tell me that the Great Society magically caused black people to have this mass amnesia, and prior to that we were in touch with our ancestors, but we lost it because of the Great Society? Again, it's all BS. So the next time you hear we were stripped of our culture, and that's why we as black people in this country are having issues, we're like can't get right off of life, is because we were stripped of our culture. Well, now and knowing it's half the battle. It's all bull crap. And if you ever hear anybody say that nonsense, then get them to explain why the problems didn't start till after the Great Society. And you're gonna, like I said, you're just gonna just absolutely destroy that argument. But anyway, y'all, and as always, until next time.